It's Chris from 2NE1 USA. And I was watching a YouTube video about a month ago, and it was a guy, and he said 20 interesting things about me. And he had something to do with K-pop, and it was kind of funny. But it was interesting at the same time. So I decided to make a video of 20 interesting things about me. And the thing is, you come here for K-pop and 2NE1 and K-pop, so you might not care too much about me and just kind of want to hear what I have to say. So this might be geared a little bit more towards people who at least watch most of my videos and would like to learn a little bit about me. And just as a person in general, I think my life has been kind of interesting. So maybe you'll enjoy it. I'm 44 years old, so I've lived a long time in my mind, and I've gone through a lot of different stages of music, and I just love it all. All right, so I could talk forever, so I'm gonna try to talk pretty fast on this one to go through it. So first out of 20 interesting fact about me is that I love music. I'm obsessed with music. Not to the point that I know how to play guitar and stuff like that, but I love listening to it. So when I was probably 13, 14, I can't remember if I was wearing a headgear when I did this. Well, we didn't have the internet like on our computers. I had like a VIC-20 Commodore 64. So I like numbers and stuff. So I wanted to know what the top 50 songs were. So what I would do is I'd go to our local mall with a notebook. I bet I had the headgear on once. I think I remember it. And at the entrance, they had the Billboard chart at the entrance of the store, and like below there were CDs. And I would sit there and I would write each one down. I mean, now you can just go to Billboard.com and you could just hit print and it's done. But I mean, the fact that I would go to the mall once a week, write down these numbers, and watch how songs where they peaked and stuff, I was just fascinated by it. So that's number one. Number two, music related, is you could consider me a Deadhead. The Grateful Dead, I saw, I think, 8 times. And one time I was chasing this girl, like, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to a Grateful Dead concert in Albany, New York." This was up in college in Orono. And the next thing you know, I'm up at that concert there, and she walks by. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" So I've seen them all over the place. Some of the greatest memories of my past were Grateful Dead concerts. Just great memories. So I mean, when you see me looking at like Tierra Number 9 doing stuff, and I'm commenting on that, at the same time I have another whole side of me of Grateful Dead, Pink Floyd, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, all kinds of stuff. The third interesting fact is I used to have my own TV show, and it was for public access. It was kind of like Wayne's World before Wayne's World, and I was interviewing people flying in airplanes over our town, lip syncing. So I'd be sitting there lip syncing Michael Jackson, PYT, all kinds of stuff. People watched it. They wrote a newspaper article on me in the town's paper. It was a great time. But yeah, and I still have it, and my show was spinned off. Another person did the second season. So that was fun. Fourth interesting fact is I'm very political. That's my other passion. I like things that affect a lot of people. And if I can change how people think about things for the better, it helps. I mean, so K-pop and politics. I ran in 2001. I ran for city council. 2005, I ran for school committee. 2008, the day Obama got elected. I didn't get elected on that. So I lost all those, but I'm glad I did it. Got to meet so many interesting people. Number 5 is I've had coworkers that have been killed by Al Qaeda. I used to work for Northrop Grumman, and there's 40,000 people. And I remember I got an email saying 5 of your coworkers were killed by Al Qaeda in Saudi Arabia last night. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know those coworkers. So when I'm at my job now, I'm like, my coworkers were killed by terrorists. So that's kind of scary. But the thing is, I'm in South Portland. This is where on 9/11, this is where they slept, and they went to all our stores around here through our airport. So Al Qaeda is right here was right here in my town. If you ever watch Homeland, oh, that's scary. You wonder where they are now. At those jobs, I was contracted to the post office. I worked for Compaq Computer Digital. I once interviewed with Microsoft. But what was funny is, this is the sixth interesting fact, is I was trying to be a headhunter for Compaq, because the guy who hired me, I'm like, what happens if I hire a guy for you? He's like, I'll give you 10% of their salary. So there was this guy who was going to make $80,000 a year working for Compaq, and I found him through the internet. I just made a website, and people responded to it. So this guy, they're like, he's got the job. All he has to do is pass the drug test. And I would have got $8,000 because you get 10% of their income for the first year. $8,000. The guy flunked the drug test. So $8,000 because some guy did drugs. Okay, so then I get this other guy. He does the interview and everything, and I think maybe $60,000 a year, so I'd get $6,000. They're like, call him, tell him he's got the job. So I kept calling the guy, and the guy never called me back. I would have got $6,000. So after those two, I gave up. But I could have been a headhunter. The seventh interesting fact is, I've had on the top of the Empire State Building a Roman candle. It's a type of firework up my sleeve. I remember I was with my family, probably late 80s, and we bought fireworks on the street. And then they're like, let's go to the Empire State Building. So there wasn't real security then. So I'm on the top of the Empire State Building with a Roman candle, like right in my sleeve, and my pockets full of firecrackers. Can you picture that today? No. That'd just be crazy today. Eighth interesting fact is I made a movie about a cemetery. I'm divorced, and when I was waiting for my kids at my ex-wife's house, it was right next to a cemetery, and I used to live in the area too. So while I waited, because sometimes, you have to wait half hour, I check out this cemetery, and I started looking at it all, and then I started taking pictures, documenting who was there. So then I looked in the archives of the town, and I found people that are not in that cemetery in their notes. And they have people who are not in the cemetery anymore, like the gravestone was gone. So that movie ran on public access, and that was good. I enjoyed that one. I got all kinds of pictures and stuff. So I want to make that into a book and submit it to the historical committee. Number 9 interesting fact is I've been on MTV. It was in, I think, 1992. They did a shot of the crowd, so it was a little dot, Spring Break Daytona. And I've been on the NBC Nightly News. They interviewed me December 27th, 1999. I was in New York City. They asked about the 2YK and terrorism. I said, I'm heading back to Maine. I'm not going to be here because of those. Because they were saying, are you going to stay for the New Year's? And so that was right before then. But that was on the news, and for years and years, people would say they saw me on that. You do not know the power. When 2 million, let's just say 2 million people watch the NBC Nightly News, so many of them are your coworkers, your friends, and they remember it. They remember seeing it. In New York, they have a place where you can see like every episode of everything. It's all on archive. So at some point, I'd like to see that again. Um, I enjoy making all these videos. So the 10th interesting fact is, I think when I'm old, I'm gonna probably run like a charity for kids. I would just love that because I don't know. I watch movies and there's so many kids that need help in this world. And I'm in the Philippines sometimes. Those kids need it. I mean, there's governments and everything, but governments can't do everything. So I see me doing that. And the other thing is, I, I, I want to be part of a movie. I enjoy movies so much. Uh, I'd like to be like part of one, even if it's an extra. I've written like 20 minutes of a animated movie I'd like to do and stuff like that, and I like wrote a song on it. Um, Maybe I could write something, they sell it. So, except for being married, having kids, and stuff like that, those are two things I'd like when I'm older. Be in a movie and do charity for kids. Number 11 is I have no internet. Uh, my daughter joined volleyball a while ago, so I got rid of the internet so I could pay for that. So every time I make a YouTube video, I am sitting there recording it, then I burn it to a DVD, then I bring it to work. I mean, I have internet on my phone, but I don't have, internet where it's like, oh, I can stream a TV show and all that. I got none of it. And that's why and that goes on to number 12, that I'm a hoarder. I hoard all kinds of videos. I'll go to work with my laptop and download all kinds of videos. Then I bring them here, put them on my server, and organize them. But, I mean, when I look around this room, I get tons of clothes. I got shirts from 20 years ago, t-shirts. I have a box of memory stuff that only it means something to me. So, like, if I die, they could just throw the box away. But I have such memories in there. Like a T-shirt that I loved, I won't throw, but it's getting holes in it. I'll throw it in a box to preserve. Like, it helps me remember. Like when I was in college and I had a Ukraine exchange student, we made shirts together. So I still have that shirt, but when it got too holy, I just put it in there. I mean, I have all my school papers going back to elementary school. I have all my paychecks. On my computer, I have 100,000 pictures. I've now been downloading them one at a time onto my DVDs. And now I've freed up. Now I got 100 gig free. So I collect everything. So it's fun that I collect the K-pop videos. And the 13th interesting fact is that I took flying lessons. When I was married, as engaged, my ex-wife, she had another year of college. So during the week, and she was 2 hours away, I took classes, flying lessons on the ground. And it was, what I love about that is like, what am I going to do with my life? I took programming and all that, but that was just something I did for fun, for myself. So once or twice a week, every day I'd learn all about all the gadgets and everything. And then at the end, I took a flying lesson, and I flew over Old Orchard Beach, which is around here. And I almost went over my town, but we had to turn around. So I went up with an instructor and everything, and I enjoyed it, but it was so expensive I didn't continue it. But, I mean, that's what I love about life. Sometimes you can just do whatever you want, and that was just such a free time. I mean, that was probably 20 years ago. I still have like a logbook for my pilot stuff. You have a logbook that you write in. My 14th most interesting fact is, so growing up, I liked Tom Cruise in the movies, so I'm like, oh, if I could look like him. See the hair? So that is someone that I wanted. Maybe I think I saw that movie. I can't remember. It was one of his last ones. Is the Outer Space one. He looks great in them. So when I see him, that's someone I'd like to look like. A lot of people say I look like Just Jack from Will and Grace, or Matt Damon, the actor. And sometimes I can see the Matt Damon. Maybe 5 years ago or something. 15th interesting fact, if you're still watching, is I used to have a CB, and my CB handle was Gutterball. That was probably 20 years ago, and that was so much fun because what you do is you say, Skip Land, this is Gutterball from Portland, Maine, who's out there, and what happens is the CB skips along the clouds somehow. So then I'd get people in the Bahamas and faraway places, and you talk to them quickly. But when you're heading down the highway, you're asking, are there any Smokies? You say, I'm heading southbound, mile 22, any Smokies, any Smokies, and then people go back. So I'd probably love to have a CD again. 16th interesting fact is I like to collect old books, stamps, and coins. I've been giving my co-worker coins lately. For an old $50, he'll give me 7 American dollars for the silver that's in there. Stamps, since age of 13, I got a huge stamp collection over there, but I don't touch it too often, but I go into it every once in a while. And old books, I got probably like 100 books, and it tells you how to treat your husband. Or, like, don't talk to him when he gets back from work. Get cleaned up before he comes back. It's so old-fashioned that is interesting. And sometimes I'd sell on eBay, like, books from the 1700s. So I'm fascinated by old stuff. 17th one interesting fact is, like, maybe 10 years ago after my divorce, I'd go to the dance clubs, and it's so much fun. Because it's like, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the beat is going, and everyone's dancing, everyone's sweating. And one time they're like, U2 dance contest. And so I did my little dance, and there's probably like 20 people watching. But I mean, it's like the movies, the breakdancing movies or something. I do it. So then the other guy tries to do a dance, and then he's like, he does that. And then the other guy is like, you won, or something. So technically, at a dance club, I won a dance contest. 18th interesting fact is snowboarding. I love snowboarding, but I haven't done it in a while, just because my life goes through phases, and when you get up there at the top of the mountain, I like to go at night, and you're just like, it's just me and the mountain, and you just go down. And I'm not great at it. Me and my ex-wife, we once went to Colorado. I did snowboarding out there. Vermont, I did it there. But I remember, and we're talking years ago, maybe like 15 years ago, I'm on the half pipe, and these kids, like, half my age, and I love it because they get the music, and you get the snowboard, do the half pipe. These kids half my age, and they're like, they're like poof, poof, going down. Then it's like my turn to go, and then I can only do like one turn, and then I like crash, and they're probably like, oh man. So I like that. And 19th interesting fact is, going along with the snowboarding, I remember once I was skateboarding home from school, and we have this steep hill, and I lost control. It just kept wobbling and wobbling, and then I landed, and I elbow first, and I think if you look, you can still see the redness. I had such a scab from that, and then in science class, I put the scab under the microscope, take a look at it. It was so funny. But now on the street, a car's going one way. These kids, like 2 of them are on the other side going back and forth, and I'm like, these kids are crazy, but at the same time, I'm like, they're young, and maybe I don't think I was that deliberate. It's kind of like, I want to say, kid, you're gonna kill yourself. Like, that car was like 3 feet from you, and all you had to do was take one little thing. But I did break my arm on a trampoline when I was 5, and I just landed wrong. And the last interesting fact is I have run 3 half miles. I used to run 5 miles every other day until probably last October. I got to start running more. So I enjoy running. You know, once you get started, it gives you clarity in your mind. And I'd like to run a full marathon in my life. And they got one at Epcot, so I think that'd be cool. When you're like at the 20th mile and you see that ball, the Epcot one in Florida, and you just get closer, bigger and bigger. And then if somebody came with you, they can have fun at Disney World while you're running for your 4 or 5 hours, probably me, to do it. So those are my interesting facts, but right now in life, I got my kids, I'm engaged, and I work, and K-pop, but hopefully you enjoyed this, and it gave you a little bit more about who I am, and so when you're watching my videos, maybe you understand me more. What you thought? Any of them stand out? Thanks for watching.